welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Gargi Rawat. Now, in an unfortunate tragedy, one person died, 6 people were injured after a portion of the roof of Delhi Airport's Terminal 1 fell on cars, including taxis. This in the midst of heavy rain today early this morning. This took place around 5 a.m. Rescue teams reached the spot soon after the shed outside Terminal 1 caved in. That's the canopy roof there, and the terminal was completely evacuated. All flight operations had to be suspended. The primary cause for the roof collapse seems to have been the continuous heavy rainfall, as Delhi airport operator has said. But there is going to be an inquiry into this. Was it because of the infrastructure? Was it because of some weakening there? And so that will continue, that inquiry. But a political blame game has, of course, been sparked over this collapse, with the Congress party blaming corruption and criminal negligence for this tragedy in which one person has been killed, this accident in which one person has died. The BJP, however, blaming the Congress for it, saying the portion that collapsed today was built during the time of the Congress party, during the UPA years. Well, the departure hall of the Terminal 1 was inaugurated in March 2024 by Prime Minister Modi after being reopened following expansion works that started in 2019. But Civil Aviation Minister Rammohan Naidu clarified that the portion of the building that collapsed this morning was built in 2008-2009 and that the work was awarded by GMR to private contractors. The Civil Aviation Minister also said that it could take until tomorrow to resume operations and carry out inspections. Now, on Thursday, we saw a metal set collapsing and falling over a parked car in an airport in Madhya Pradesh. This was in Jabalpur. So you've just had a similar a collapse happening at another airport, and then this major one at the Delhi airport. A bridge collapsed in Bihar's Kishanganj district as well, marking the 4th such instance in a week. Every city in India needs a makeover with infrastructure that is in tune with changing needs and, most importantly, safe for users. How does one build and sustain that is the question we are asking tonight. Well, let's go across to our panel now, and joining us this evening is Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson of the BJP, Dikshu C. Kukreja, urban planner, Mahima Singh, spokesperson of the Congress party, Raj Bhagat Palanichami, senior manager, Sustainable Cities, WRI, and Medha Priya, designer and architect and climate warrior, also one of the 17 young leaders of the UN's We the Change campaign. Thank you so much all for joining us on the program today. And Shazia Ilmi, I'd like to start with you. You know, I don't want to go into the specifics of what happened in Delhi, but yes, if we talk about the larger issue of infrastructure and this collapse at the airport. Now, this is an airport we've all been very proud of, but to have it collapse in this manner, this canopy roof, and one person was killed, and then this blame game that ensued, you know, it's really, really unfortunate. It's time that our infrastructure, that, you know, checks are done periodically to ensure the safety of the buildings that we have set up.
Well, absolutely. And I don't think you can ask me questions of the blame game, because we all heard how it all started just after this tragedy happened, which is so unfortunate and something that is really not just embarrassing but rather shameful. It all became about whether it's TMC MP talking about culpable homicide and bringing Prime Minister into it, to us saying that no, it happened in 2009, which is exactly what the Union Minister said, which is a fact. So there are facts, and they're not very good, because whoever it is, whoever the private contractors are, whoever the big companies are, whichever government it is unpardonable. But this propensity or this tendency to just go and jump into blame game and drag the PM and everyone, it is extremely sad. Nothing will improve if you do that, because it's happened across the different stations and cities. So it's very unfortunate. And I really would like to desist from that. Yes, we really need to upgrade our infrastructure. We need to do much more. An audit is going on, a safety audit. But I just think overall the standards must improve.
You know, these safety audits and committees always happen after the fact, after this, you know, massive accident befalls us in which people lose their lives. Mahima Singh, your response to that, and, you know, the point is about maintenance of the infrastructure. The aviation minister was quick to visit the site of Terminal 1 where this building collapsed, where this roof collapsed had taken place. And he did point out, because the Congress said that it was, the recently inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi. However, he was just pointing out that this is not the portion that was inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi in March.
Jai Hind. Gargi, I must say in Kumar Vinod's style कि यहाँ है कौन मुंसिफ कौन पैरोकार क्या जाने, ये भोले लोग इस दुनिया के कारोबार क्या जाने, इमारत बन गई पूरी चौथाई लागत में, गिरेगी किन अभागों पर ये ठेकेदार क्या जाने. The question today is, Gargi, why have we not seen such collapses and leaks that have become the BJP's and Modi's USP, or rather I should say characteristic trait today in the past so many decades? They talked about Vikas, they talked about 70 saal mein kya hua, and what we are seeing now is actually the real face of the dichotomous Vikas, of the narcissistic Vikas that BJP and Modi have done of their own. Rather, the public is having to bear the brunt of their shoddy infrastructure. It is criminal negligence, as our honorable president has pointed out very categorically. Because be it Morbi Bridge in Gujarat a couple of years ago, be it the Rampath today, where we have seen the whole of the road has gone down, be it the Mumbai Trans link. I did not speak in between.
It's the same story. The potholes of Karnataka.
Please correct this misconduct on your debate.
Shashi, let me just let her complete her point, and then I want to move on to the other panelists as well.
No, because Gargi, let me just say that these kinds of collapses and leaks have never happened before. Pragati Maidan tunnel, it was inaugurated in a hustle because G20 had to happen. Hindi mein kehte hain jaldi ka kaam shaitan ka. So that is what is happening, and it is the public of India that is having to bear the brunt. And the public of India is hoping for this government, this one-third government, to collapse like these bridges and these...
All right, I will come back to Shazia to respond to that. But I'd like to go across to Dikshu Kukreja now. And, the larger issue of our infrastructure and planning, we've got all these high rises and elevated roads, etc., underpasses. But it takes one heavy rainfall to really expose the state of our infrastructure. And I don't want to just talk about Delhi, also smaller towns and cities as well. Where are we lacking? Where do we need to ensure that, our citizens get the kind of infrastructure that they pay taxes for, that they deserve to have? Just, not have flooded roads every monsoon.
So yeah, Gargi, I think, first of all, I think it's commendable that we are moving towards being a developed nation, and for that we are building adequate infrastructure. But yes, the episodes like the one we are discussing now and in the recent past, where things have either fallen or crumbled or whatever, is definitely a blot on our development. And therefore, we need to understand why. Why is this happening? And I think for that, we need to also realize that we need some systemic changes right from the sourcing model of this infrastructure. By that, I mean that when we are selecting designers, I'm the last one to say here that, we don't have world-class designers or world-class construction companies in India. We certainly do. But is our process correct? I think our process is antiquated and completely not in sync with creating world-class infrastructure. We have started selecting architects, engineers, and professionals on a least fee basis. That means whoever in this bottomless pit wants to quote the lowest money for their job will get the job. The same story follows for construction agencies. So obviously quality will start getting compromised if cost is the only thing that takes precedence. So I think we need to realize that that is a problem. And right from there on, then goes on the fact that, you can put in capex and build infrastructure, but we cannot forget that infrastructure also requires maintenance. And if we don't do that, things like this will happen. So I think it's a holistic approach. It's not difficult. It's not complicated. It doesn't require billions of dollars at all. It's just the outlook I would like to say.
Right, and agencies need to take a look, and authorities around about the wear and tear that infrastructure has undergone, and just mend those gaps. Raj Bhagat, it's also, our cities are facing climate change, extreme weather occurrences, be it heat waves, water drying up, be it these instances of torrential rainfall and a lot of water falling in a very short period. So this is also part of the planning that we need to do to make our cities more climate resistant.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we do have a problem. I mean, it is, these collapses are actually, to me, is like random things that can happen in the sense like it can happen in Delhi today, it can be in another city. But the problem is actually with our process. First is with respect to planning. Our cities are not properly planned with respect to our environment. So we do not know actually where to build and what to build and how to build, right? Like, so we follow an ad hoc development model, right? Like, so today we build one randomly, we build one terminal, and in another few years we'll build something else in nearby. But there is no holistic approach to the developmental models that we have, and because of which we are, that is the starting point. So we don't have a holistic model. And second is that the process itself is not proper, right? Like, so when we don't have a plan, the designs, etc., would be coming from a very random manner, and followed by the design, then there is an execution stage as well as the maintenance stage. Usually the problem is that who is doing this check, and who will do the check, who is the authority, and what is the transparent process around this, etc. With that perspective, I mean, most of our infrastructure actually can crumble if they're facing any kind of environmental hazard.
Right.
Today it might be rainfall, it can be an earthquake soon that's happening, and a lot of damage would happen both to public and private infrastructure. We are not yet ready for it, and I think it is the process that we need to fix.
Right, it's
That is where
very
we have to
worrying to
approach
see
it.
what's happening, and Delhi is the capital of our country. Then, therefore, to have such things happening right here in Delhi, to have a terminal roof collapsing is absolutely shocking. And Medha, Priya, what would your comments be on this? And the larger issue of infrastructure. We talk about Viksit Bharat, we talk about smart cities, but clearly we're deeply lacking in maintaining the infrastructure that we've already built.
So I think that the problem that I think both Diksha and Raj have also addressed is the process in itself. So the design process currently is not taking a very holistic view on construction. We're just looking at buildings individually and not really considering the greater impact it will have on the environment. Also, I think that right now, designers and architects, we're building in isolation. I think there's a lack of collaboration with people who might be subject matter experts on the topics of climate change. We might not always be the best people to make the decision. So I think one thing that the design process can take into purview is that we can have more people, more stakeholders when it comes to making design decisions, and also have more people to look that those design decisions are actually implemented when the construction is going on, so that by dividing the stages of responsibility amongst different stakeholders, there can be more accountability. And I think that would be like a future looking step when it comes to better practices in infrastructure development.
All right, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to, leave it there because we have an exclusive interview now. The Civil Aviation Minister Ramgopal Naidu speaking to NDTV on what took place today. The roof collapse, one person dead, 6 others injured. Let's go across to this exclusive on NDTV.
Because of heavy rains in an unfortunate tragedy at the T1 Terminal Airport building of the National Capital, New Delhi, one person died because of the roof collapse and 6 persons got injured. But Civil Aviation Minister Ramgopal Naidu of the TDP of the NDA was there monitoring the situation today. Thank you, Mr. Naidu, for speaking to NDTV. You were there at the site early in the morning. Tell us what kind of interventions has the ministry made to ensure that something like this doesn't happen again?
It is, like you said, a very unfortunate incident, and especially in the very early days of me taking charge as the ministry. And right in the beginning, in the morning, as soon as I knew that such an incident happened, I wanted to rush to the airport. And it was a little challenging at the time, considering there was heavy rain and there was a lot of traffic congestion happening in and across Delhi. But one thing I have to mention is that the kind of encouragement I received from PM Modi ji, he called immediately to me and he gave me the encouragement, he gave me the guidance that how to handle such a crisis. So that really pulled me up, and I wanted to go there. I went there. I took all my team from the ministry and wanted to get an early assessment of the situation, so that right from the beginning itself, the right process, the right steps can be taken forward. And I would like to offer my condolences to the family also, where one person has been died in this tragic incident. And also we have taken care of whoever was injured. We have taken them immediately to the hospital, and we have ensured that proper medical care is given to them. And the first thing we did after the incident happened was to evacuate the entire building. We didn't want any further damage to happen, and just as a precautionary thing, we evacuated the entire building, and we stopped all the flight operations from T1. And because it was stopped, we wanted to passengers to not have any inconvenience, so we transferred all the traffic to T2 and T3. And once that traffic has been diverted, we have informed the DGCISF also to provide additional manpower, so that there is as little inconvenience that is being done to the passengers. Right. And we have also, after my initial assessment at the site, I again had a review meeting at my ministry with the Secretary, Civil Aviation, with the DGCA, and AAI chairman, and BCAS, which are the important organizations within my ministry. So I called all the official joint secretaries, everyone, and I took a complete assessment of the site again, and we have come up with some certain points that we want to address. One is that the passengers who have got their flights cancelled and who have been diverted, we have established a 24/7 helpline right in the airport, in T2, in T3, and the two airlines which were operating on T1 were Indigo and SpiceJet. So we have a clear war room set up with helpline numbers. So anyone who is requesting for a refund or an alternate route or an alternate choice of travel, they will be provided, and we have ensured that within 7 days the refund has to be provided. Okay. This has been a clear instruction to the airlines also, that no complaint should come from any passenger regarding this issue. Okay. And second thing, whenever such an issue happens, the immediate trend that you see is that there is a spike in airfares because of the environment that it's getting created, and we wanted to put an end to that also. So we have instructed the airlines that such an incident, consider it on humanitarian grounds and ensure that no airfare price hike is happening until normalcy is achieved. Right. So that is another thing that we have been concerned about. And the third thing is that why did it happen? Yes. That's the question everybody...
Because it's very shocking that it happened in the national capital, and we saw something like this happening in Jabalpur also.
Exactly. So there have been two incidents, back-to-back incidents that have happened. So it was very concerning for us also. And I was very, very concerned that why has it happened? So I wanted an individual team to be inspecting that issue. So not just from the ministry, we have a structural engineering team come from IIT Delhi. Okay. So they are investigating, they are trying to see the building, and the inspection is going on. So whatever the initial findings this team is going to give us, we are going to assess it, and we are going to see what the future course is going to be. Okay. And like you have mentioned, Jabalpur, we are not leaving that aside. We are sending a team from AI also to Jabalpur, and we are going to find out what has happened there. Now, because it has happened in two airports, we don't want to take any chance. So almost 157 airports are there in the country. I'm not leaving any airport. I want the teams to go to each and every airport. I want the structural inspection being done in all the airports, the initial one. And within 2 to 5 days, I want report on my table. That is what I've instructed the team, and they are working on it. So as soon as we get the reports from all the airports across the country, we are going to assess it again, and we are going to see is there any regulation work that is being needed, or policy framework that needs to be looked at. So these are some of the things we are already under consideration, but we want the right guidance from the reports itself. So that is what we are working on right now. And other than that, we are the passenger convenience and safety. Yeah. This has been always my mottos right from the day one of my taking charge as the ministry. So I am ensuring that the least inconvenience is being given to the passengers. So whatever issues come up in real time, we are going to take it up, and we are going to address it.
Mr. Naidu, you also went to the hospital, you spoke to the people who got injured. Also tell us what kind of outreach is happening to that one person's family who died, and of course the 6 people. You also spoke to staff who work in the airport. So tell us what is it that you got.
So I really wanted to appreciate, because it was a challenging time for everyone. It was early in the morning, and there was heavy rain. So people to come there and kind of get themselves up for the rescue efforts. I felt that it was very heroic. So I wanted to appreciate all the people who were there in that rescue efforts, right from NDRF teams, we had CISF, we had the general people, like just Safai Walas just coming, trying to clean up things, trying to help in whatever way they can. So I felt that that was a great gesture at this time. So I wanted to thank each and everyone. So I was meeting all the people who were at the site, and also it is my responsibility to take care of the injured also. So I immediately found out where they were. I went to the hospital, I spoke to them, I tried to give them some sort of confidence. I wanted to find out from there also what their version was. So one of them mentioned that he just didn't know, suddenly the roof came falling and it hit half of his head and fell down. So I just wanted to give that sense of confidence that the government is there for them, the minister is there for them. Right. And it's through these gestures I want to send a message to the people of this country also, that Civil Aviation Ministry is your ministry. Okay. We understand you, we are listening to you. Any such incidents, we don't want these kind of incidents to happen, but some things are not in your hands. But whenever these things happen, the kind of the attitude that you show, the kind of response that you give actually helps in creating that sense of comfort with the people also. So that is what we are aiming at.
Right, my last question, sir. I know you've clarified this, but there's also a political blame game with the Congress blaming the BJP and saying that this comes under Narendra Modi's political accountability. How would you want to respond to that? No,
that first of all, let me clarify that this fake news that is going, that PM Modi ji has inaugurated this building and it has just been inaugurated 3 months back and such an incident happened, that it is not true. The collapse happened in that part of the building which was constructed and opened in 2009. So it's a 15-year-old building. Doesn't mean that doesn't give an excuse that this incident should happen. That's a different story. But linking it to the event that he has inaugurated is a totally fake news. So doing this for a political brownie points is, I don't think this is an incident where they should cross this line at least. So I wanted to see some political maturity, but it's all right. When you're in politics, probably you have to face all this. But let me be clear that this building is totally separate from the one inaugurated by PM Modi. Then this is up for anyone to go there and see also which building is which one. So it's not something I'm hiding from them or trying to create something else. The building which he has opened is totally intact and is a separate building which is operational also. But due to the inconvenience that has been right now, we have totally closed all the buildings.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Naidu, for speaking to NDTV. That was Ram Mohan Naidu, Civil Aviation Minister of India, talking about the importance of structural safety of all 157 airports across the country. And he also says that passenger safety is paramount for him. With camera person Pawan Tewari, this is Vasudha Venugopal for NDTV.
Delhi brought to his knees. Believe it or not, the season's first rain brought the national capital to a standstill. Roads turned to rivers, water flowed among furniture inside houses, and unprecedented scenes at the airport, where the porch of the arrivals and departure area of Terminal T1 collapsed. And of course, the National Capital Region's eternal problem, nightmarish traffic.
ये आईटीओ वाला रोड है जिसमें ये एजीसीआर बिल्डिंग है इधर ये
आप भी कोशिश कर रहे हैं जाने की?
हाँ ऑफिस में गया था लेकिन ऑफिस में एक हाथ करीब पानी भरा हुआ है।
ये हर साल की यही दिक्कतें हैं?
हर साल की यही दिक्कत है। अगले पिछली साल भी जब बाढ़ आई थी तब भी तो यही दिक्कत थी।
तो रहा है कि कल भी यही प्रॉब्लम होगी। गवर्नमेंट को डेफिनेटली कुछ ना कुछ तो करना चाहिए, कुछ सीवेज नहर कुछ बनवा दे सो दैट पानी जो भी ड्रेनेज है ये इसके प्रॉब्लम ना है।
सरकार को हम यही कहेंगे कि अभी तो शुरू हुई, तो प्री मानसून बारिश है, नाउ मानसून इज कमिंग एंड रोज 10 दिन तक कंटिन्यूस बारिश है जो आईएमडी की प्रेडिक्शन है। सो वी डोंट नो वेयर दिल्ली विल गो। एंड अगेन की लास्ट ईयर भी हमारे साथ ये हुआ था कि यमुना का वाटर का फ्लो बढ़ गया था, इस बार भी वही कंडीशंस आ रही है। सो हमने एक साल में कोई इम्प्रूवमेंट नहीं किया है।
For Delhiites battling extreme heat for days on end, the monsoon came earlier than expected and at a huge cost. Delhi's overnight rain, the most intense 24-hour spell in over 80 years. brought down a portion of the roof over the drop and pickup zone of one of Delhi Airport's busiest terminals. 45-year-old Ramesh, an Uber driver, was crushed to death under the metal sheets, while at least 8 others were left seriously injured. The roof collapse left behind a trail of damage, throwing off flight schedules. Most of the low-cost airlines, including Indigo and SpiceJet, cancelled their flights from Terminal 1 till midnight, leaving thousands of passengers in the lurch.
All the flights which are expected or scheduled to arrive and depart from this terminal have been shifted to Terminal 2 and 3. Early morning there were many passengers who were stranded due to lack of information because it was raining heavily, and then the airline officials, airport authority officials, as well as people from the rescue team, they kept sharing information with the passengers to ensure that nobody is stranded here due to the lack of information.
This is the new aviation minister's first big challenge after assuming office.
ज़रूर इंक्वायरी की भी हमारी मिनिस्ट्री से हम चालू कर रहे हैं। एक्सपर्ट्स को, इंडस्ट्री के एक्सपर्ट्स को लेके आकर इसके ऊपर पूरी तरह से अच्छी तरह जांच कराएंगे। ये बिल्डिंग वो नहीं है, ये इसका बिल्डिंग ये 2009 में इसका उद्घाटन हुआ था।
वैसे ही टर्मिनल 1 गिरा है, 10 साल से रख रखाव उनका था, उन्होंने देखा था, और उसके बाद भी ये हालत थी कि एक बारिश नहीं झेल पाई। मोदी सरकार का भी यही हाल होगा, पूरी तरह वही जिम्मेदार है।
With parts of Delhi underwater, the Aam Aadmi Party government went into a huddle soon after the waterlogging situation spiraled out of control. Almost a year since floods ravaged the capital, and the root cause of the mayhem remains the same: the clogged drains. Government data shows that nearly 1 lakh tons of waste from over 700 drains that are more than 4 feet deep is yet to be cleared.
The standoff between the centre and the Aam Aadmi Party government has indefinitely delayed the process of the decongestion of the drains. Now, while the BJP-led centre blames the local government for the plastic waste and inaction, the Aam Aadmi Party-led Delhi government says that this mayhem is because of the record-breaking rain.
The government had no clear answers to why Delhi had failed to clean up the sewer mess.
बहुत सारे एरियाज हैं जहाँ पे वाटर लॉगिंग की शिकायत इसलिए है क्योंकि इंटर डिपार्टमेंट इश्यूज हैं। लिस्ट को बनाने के लिए कहा गया और कहा गया है कि इसको कांस्टेंट मॉनिटरिंग की जाएगी, एक्टिवली इसको मॉनिटर किया जाएगा कि ऐसी कोई दिक्कत ना हो।
The weatherman says heavier showers are likely.
29th onwards, 29th and 30th, we are expecting heavy rainfall over Delhi. Of course, we will be updating it daily.
The water may have begun to recede, but the misery on day 1 of the monsoon is just a sign of things to come.
The horror stories of the 2023 floods have still not been forgotten, but the government has learned no lessons. One short spell of rain has exposed the civic apathy of the government. While the centre and the Aam Aadmi Party continue to bicker for the citizens of Delhi, it's like living from one emergency to another. The risk of floods looms large yet again. In New Delhi with camera person Arun Singh Negi, Vedant for NDTV.